Hey everyone, Pastor Ben here from RCC. Thank you for joining us for our live discussion this evening with some of our RCC families and just really dealing with COVID-19. And we wanted to get a perspective from some of our families who are the real MVPs, who are working, caring for kids, making sure everyone is healthy and safe. It definitely is a 24/7, 365 job. So we're so glad for the families that could join us tonight. I just want to give everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves and let us know a little bit about their families. And we'll start with Jenny.
All right, my name's Jenny Lacasse. My husband Steve and I have a son, Stevie, who is 9. He's in 3rd grade. He's just finishing up. And my stepdaughter, Kayla, who just graduated high school on Friday night.
Awesome. Super big moment.
Just a little.
Yeah. Brinks.
After you.
We are Tim and Erin Brink. We have Tyler, who's 15, Delaney, who's 13, and Hannah, who is 8 going on 16. So
I heard that. Yeah. Yeah. Mary, tell us a little bit about your family.
I'm Mary Pulido. My husband's Brandon, and we have 2 kids. Loretta is 7, and Victor is 2. He's very much a 2-year-old, and Loretta is the same. She's 7 going on 16 as well.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do for our conversation, just ask you guys some questions about this pandemic from your experience, and feel free to share what you'd like, as much or as little as you'd like. And we'll just go through these questions. And I know it'll be a blessing for families, parents, grandparents, single moms, single dads, because we're all families are going through the same thing, which is unique. I don't think outside of in my lifetime, outside of 9/11, that the whole world is experiencing something and can have like a common language. So the first question, we'll start with the Brinks, is this, and would love for everyone to answer if you'd like to. What was it like transitioning your family from pre-COVID to COVID family life?
When it initially happens, we sat down, the 2 of us sat down, and then eventually sat down with the kids, and just straight out of the gate, these are our expectations. This is what our family's going to do. We're not worried about what anybody else is going to do, but this is us. We created a schedule for school. We had the kids understand what they needed to do every morning. And then I think the big thing was just knowing from the beginning, we had to remind each other to have grace for each other, and grace for ourselves, and grace for the kids. So it's been a whole lot of grace or attempts at.
Right. Yeah, it was probably a lot of the grace was for me, because I already worked from home to begin with.
Oh, wow.
So I'm used to a quiet house, just me and the dog, and now everybody's home, and it's like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
And I had to, it was interesting because like for work, you see all the stories, kids wandering into Zoom calls, this and that, but they knew not to do that. But I think as the weeks and maybe months wore on, they kind of said, okay, I can just wander into, and it just kind of all swirled together. But I think the kids have done a great job. Erin did an awesome job of setting that expectation up front, and they've just been really doing what they're supposed to do the whole time. It's been a challenge, but I think we just had, like Erin said, those open conversations right up front to say, this is how we're going to do it in our house.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. And I heard from one psychologist right when this hit, is like something like this is taking your mind map and just blowing it apart, and normalcy is out. So I think, going straight to like, these are the expectations. Rhythm really helps with grief and loss, because there's, okay, I can do this in a season where I don't know really what's going on. Mary, Jenny, what about you?
Go ahead, Mary.
Well, it's been hard for us because our situation, I'm sure everyone's is unique, and So ours is a little different where Brandon, we both worked outside of the house. So both of our situations changed right away because Brandon worked at a school. His school shut down,
Yeah.
and they went into residential facilities instead. And so Brandon's basically he was doing first shift Monday through Friday. We were used to just having dinner together as a family, and just having that time at home afterwards, getting the kids to bed. That was our routine, and I don't know how everyone else's kids are, but mine, maybe it's because I'm tired at the end of the day, or maybe it's just because, bedtime, that's like the worst time, but it's hard being by myself now, like getting them in and not having dinner, with Brandon. And so that was a challenge, and I am a school bus driver, so that's changed a little bit. I'm delivering meals, but it's only, it's in the middle of the day now. It's only 2 days a week now, but so the kids' schedule obviously has changed just like everybody else's. I'm sort of going off a little bit. It's been hard. I would say that Brandon's schedule hasn't, what I meant to say is his schedule hasn't stayed the same.
Right.
It's been changing a lot. And so we've done our best to develop a routine, especially with Loretta just trying to finish remote learning, and thank God that is done. Because that was hard. And so I tried to do what you did, Erin, and just set off, a schedule right away. I wrote one down, and it's so funny, like what I've learned about myself. I know this is going to come later, but I feel like right at first I was trying to control right off the bat, because like that's what, just to find some normalcy in it. But then even in that, I couldn't do that because Brandon's schedule kept changing, and I had to be fluid in the rhythm, and constantly fluid in the rhythm. And it was difficult, but in a way it was really freeing to some degree, and finding Jesus in all of it, with my rhythms.
Sure.
And grace, like you said, Aaron, grace, like for all of us, for ourselves, like has been huge,
I think you're speaking the language of almost every family. Like Crystal and I, we don't have kids, but we can totally identify with exactly what you're saying. Jenny, how did you transition your family into COVID rhythms? And you're on a church staff, and so you get to carry the burden and the load of other families who are struggling. What's that like?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it's been a roller coaster ride. I think that's like the word that we're all using right now, is there's highs and lows. I think for me, it's been a blessing being able to pour into my students. I'm a teacher, and also the kids at church. That's been a blessing. I find that I love spending time with them, and that really lifts me up. But in terms of like my own well-being and my family's well-being, schedules and routines we've had to maintain them as best as we can. And of course we're going to break those, and we're human, but I think at least making an attempt at some kind of a schedule and some kind of a rhythm is what's key, because school is all about rhythm and routine. And when you rip that away from an adult or a child, it creates this like anxiety, and we just we need predictability. So
what going off what you said, Jenny, and I'll throw this out to the group, one or two can answer, what are some new rhythms that you guys have started during the season? Like for Crystal and I, we usually take our dog Bob for walks either early in the morning or late at night, just to get the brain going. So that's a new rhythm we started. What about you guys?
I don't know that it's the greatest rhythm, but at night after dinner, everybody just kind of goes and does their own thing. I'll sit on the couch with Hannah and we'll watch a show. And the older two have actually, one of the things that's actually been really cool is to see Tyler and Delaney, who were so close, like people thought they were twins when they were little, to now have that chance to build that relationship again. So they sit in the other room and they watch their own show and just kind of hang out together. So in thinking that, it's just a time to relax and de-stress and just honestly do something mindless before bed.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. What about you, Jenny or Mary? Any new rhythms?
I've just been rediscovering lost hobbies. Like, I think I'm on my third or fourth puzzle, and before, puzzles were like, I don't have time for that. Like, who does puzzles? But I'm like really into them now. And so just finding like old things that we used to do, I guess, like Ben keeps saying, the 90s, when we used to do things in the 90s before Wi-Fi and all that other stuff. Playing cards.
Did this happen during the 90s? Woo!
It'd be fine.
Yeah.
We'd be still waiting for the Wi-Fi to connect. Or no Wi-Fi, it was hardwired, sorry.
We wouldn't know how we were doing unless we saw people in person. Remember those days? So, Mary, what about you? Any new family rhythms?
Yeah, well, Brandon pretty regularly gets Fridays off, so we decided as a family we're gonna go hiking every Friday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, someplace new. I mean, we've always loved hiking, but yeah, we're just excited to explore New Hampshire because we haven't seen everything. And I grew up in New England, but I wasn't really. My parents weren't hikers.
Yeah.
I've grown to love it, and so yeah, we're doing that. And just actually, there's one other thing we've been doing because Brandon's not home every night for dinner, so it kind of fits in with the feed yourself too. A couple weeks ago, Loretta and we cooked a meal together and we pretended as if Jesus was sitting at the table with us. And we even set a plate at the table, put flowers in the middle of the table, like filled his cup, filled the plate up with food like he was with us. And
that's cute.
It was really cool because we had this conversation and we sort of like, it was funny, and like there were moments where we picked off of his plate and then we like laughed about it, or there's just like little things in the conversation that came up, and we thought about like how he would have answered it, and it was neat. And I want to really start doing that, try to do it weekly, but at least maybe once a month or something.
Yeah, sure.
Because for her it was cool.
Yeah,
and she loves cooking, so my kids.
What? No, that's fine. It's you're in a family unit. It's okay. It happens. What have been and no one here is the expert in surviving COVID-19, but what have been some feelings your kids have expressed? Maybe their feelings of sadness, grief, or happiness, or boredom. What have been some feelings that your kids have expressed, and how have you? Here comes the we're not experts. How have you helped them process this whole season of what they're going through?
That's a good question. It's a tough one to answer.
Thank you. I'm sure it is. Yeah.
I mean, the kids have been. I think the kids have done well. We're lucky. Our kids are a little bit older. They're not super young.
Yeah.
So we can have a conversation with them. Sometimes it takes a couple of times, but it's a little bit easier than if the kids are much younger.
Right.
It still hasn't been without its challenges though. Like Hannah wants to play with her friends on the street or go. We have to. It's a regular reminder that she can't.
Right.
Delaney had a birthday in the middle of it, and
Her
13th birthday, and she was actually, to her credit, she was doing really well all day, and then just kind of like completely broke down, and then said, "No, I'm sorry." He said, "It's okay. You can be upset. It's okay."
Yeah.
And it helps that the birthday parade came around like a half hour after that, so that went well. But I think it's just been they break down at different points and different times, and it's just a matter of being able to sit down and talk to them. And I think, trust them enough that we can explain the situation and just be honest with them about what's going on. And I think also be honest about how we feel about it. Like we're not enjoying it either, for a variety of reasons, but it's like being able to share that with them, I think, improves the conversation.
Yeah. To see the girls who are definitely more social than Tyler, like when the introvert in Tyler is finally starting to say like, oh, I kind of miss people. Like, all right.
No, it's not.
That's
It's
a big
done.
deal
We're done.
for him to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But they're learning to be bored. You know, I can't be
That's
mom,
good.
teacher, cleaner, laundry, food, whatever, and be cruise director. Like it just doesn't work. So teaching them that they have to be bored and that's okay. You know, go pick up a book. There's like real books in the house. You can pick up a book.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So stuff like that. Like it's okay to have the negative feelings too. Be mad.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Don't be angry like you are gonna flip out, but embrace that like, okay, I am mad, but why am I mad?
Yes.
What's, you know, is it because you miss people? Is it because you want to go somewhere?
Right.
We started a jar that is it has papers in it to just like, if you're mad or if you're sad about something, like what is it that's causing that? So it's our I wish we could jar.
Yeah.
So on the paper, if it's something, they just write like, I wish I could go to the park with my friends, fold it up, put it in the jar. Because there's so many learning moments in those emotions.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to forget that when we do get to whatever normal looks like, you know, I don't want them to forget that those were things that they were upset about, and hopefully they learned from them. So one day we'll go through the jar and we'll start doing the stuff that they wish they could do, and hopefully there's a different appreciation.
You know, I really love that you guys are doing that, because I feel like for me in this season, like just thinking like through the lens of a pastor, and see all the fighting on Facebook about the virus and what it is and what it isn't. I think in the American church, we're quick to want answers, and we don't know how to lament and tell God, this is the pain I'm in. This is terrible. This is how I'm grieving. God, I had 3 emotional breakdowns in the last month. And I just really think that's beautiful. What you guys are doing, you're teaching them a really cool biblical and needed concept in their journey with Jesus, is how to lament. Like, it's okay to say, this sucks. This is hard. I don't want to do that. Even in the presence of God. Let me throw maybe a more lighthearted question. What have been some of the funnier moments that have happened, online or in your household that your kids wouldn't kill you if you told on them on a Zoom call? What have been some of the funnier moments, or a funny moment?
Hannah and Delaney's makeup tutorials. It's been interesting for Hannah to come downstairs and say, "Oh, I'm whoever." Like she did.
Are any of those on video?
Not video. We have a lot of pictures of it though.
Cool. Awesome. I didn't know if they're on YouTube channel or not.
Those are going to be pictures that come out years down the road of like
graduation.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, Mary, what about you guys? Have you been able to laugh or enjoy being silly?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been moments, definitely. Sometimes I'm laughing at myself, and well, it's funny how the extreme, the emotions are like either really lamenting, like you said, or like, I've had moments of extreme joy too, like just with our kids, and like it's cool having that extra time with them. I'm gonna go serious, and I don't mean to, because like talking about rhythm, I think it's in the Message version of where I want to say Matthew, somewhere in Matthew it says, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened. I don't want to misquote it because I don't have it in front of me, but in the Message version it's the unforced rhythms of grace.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it is. I love that phrase. It is. You're right.
And one of the biggest things, like I'm trying to learn during this time, like I'm in the process,
Yeah.
is unforced, and allowing my kids to have a relationship that's unforced with God, like, and even sitting back and like watching it and
Yeah.
taking notes of it, because we can learn so much just from observing our kids, and
Right.
um so in that, there's, of course, there's just been moments of being able to really enjoy
Mhm.
them and laugh with them
Yeah.
in a way that it's kind of sad, but like because of the rush and our schedules before this all happened,
Yeah.
it's like it made it really difficult to do.
Yeah.
So there's been lots of moments, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. Jenny, let me throw this question out to you. What have you missed? And anyone can answer this, but what have you missed? It could be silly or serious. It's up to you. What have you missed the most about this separation from your old rhythm or old life? What do you miss the most about life pre-COVID?
I just miss like community, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're blessed that we can stay connected this way, and I can still see my class and my colleagues at work, and
Yeah.
I can still see the people from church this way. But community has been such a big part of who I am that, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like initially it was all ripped away from me, and
Yeah.
really, really hard. And so I dealt with a lot of grieving up front, and
Mhm.
just allowing myself to kind of go through that process has been a journey in and of itself. But
Yeah.
I'd say I want to go back and hug people and like not stop hugging them for however long I feel like I need it.
This is making me, this is turning me into being a hugger, I'll tell you. So it's pretty serious.
You're going to be converted, Ben.
I know.
No more cat start.
What do you guys miss? What's one thing you guys miss about life pre-COVID?
Yeah, lacrosse. That's,
Lacrosse. Yeah.
I miss lacrosse a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's those. I think it's all those little pockets of community, like
Right.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We're such a big part of that lacrosse community. It's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tyler plays, Hannah plays. This would have been Tyler's first year at high school level, which would have been really cool to see. Erin coaches Hannah's team.
Yeah.
We've, for the last 3 or 4 years, we've gone to the NCAA lacrosse weekends, Memorial Day weekend. It's a really, really great environment and atmosphere. And, it's just, but like Erin said, it's a sport, but it's really more about the community. It's just about being around people and just feeling that the positive energy that comes from either a local community or like Erin investing in her team, or seeing Tyler contribute to his team, or just being part of a community and that comes around one thing, but that one thing really could be anything.
Right.
So it's always been the spring has been a good time for us. Everybody kind of we know the end of school is coming. Everybody gets a little bit more focused, and the outside time just kind of improves everything around our house. So that's definitely been a challenge, something that we've missed and had to overcome during the season.
Yeah.
Look forward to next year when we can get back.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so. What about you, Mary?
I would have to say hugs, and I'm not a hugger at all either. I'm so awkward, and I'm so awkward with people. Like, I'm such a introvert, like, or at least I thought I was an introvert, but I feel as though this process has really showed me that I'm more of a little bit of both, and maybe more extroverted than I am introverted. And I've had moments where I've like been around my family but couldn't give them a hug, and I've literally just like started crying.
Yeah.
It's been weird for me. I mean, I don't mean my kids, because I hug them all the time, and Brandon, but I mean like my sisters, just like standing like 6 feet apart and not being able to hug, and it's like heart-wrenching,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it's a little bit like when Jesus healed the leper, it's like you're not allowed, you can't be in that community. And then when you're healed and you go back into the community, people are like, can I touch you? Can I get close to you? It's just psychologically, man, it's wild. So here's the last question I have for everyone. It's a bit, well, it can be whatever you want it to be. But maybe if we could just take 2 to 3 minutes per person or less. What's been the thing God has? So I'm going to confuse you and ask you 3 different questions, and you can answer one of them, or all 3, or 2 of them. I like small groups that way because open-ended questions, there are no answers. It's whatever you want to respond. What in this season has God taught you about himself, yourself, or what are some of the things that he's sort of brought up in you that you've buried? And I'll give you an example. I mean, this is true for my life, so I would say yes. A lot of people have said that they've been coming to terms with how busy their schedules were and the pace of life that they were living, that this has really forced them to make time for other people. Because, I mean, let's be honest, what else are we going to do? So for a lot of folks at RCC and other friends from around the country, they said, like, once we get back into, normalcy, I want to slow down my life. Maybe my kids don't need to be involved in as much, or maybe I don't need to put as many hours in the office as I used to. So that's a big thing that I've been hearing is after, it's so American to say this, but after this is over, I'm going to slow down my pace of life. So what is that for you? What's God taught you about himself or you, or what has he brought up? I'll start with the Brinks.
Oh, me? Thanks.
Yeah. Good job, Aaron.
That's a tough one.
It is.
For us, so I will say our pace of life hasn't really changed a lot. Now we've got different activities, but we haven't slowed down at all. So there are some families that are experiencing something different from us. We're blessed, and I don't mean to say that it's not a blessing, but I've been able to work straight, like without any adjustment to my schedule. Like, to your point, Mary, like my schedule's been the same, my hours have been, like, everything's been the same, and so there hasn't been an adjustment there.
Right.
The kids are still, full-time. We're, again, blessed that Aaron can be at home, but it's like what normally took, maybe some parts of the day, now Aaron is, playing the role of teacher for the kids and all the other things you do. So it's like our pace of life, we haven't found that it's changed dramatically. So certainly something that I think I'll take away from this time is that if I'm going to be, this is going to sound a little strange, then from my head, if I'm going to be busy and if I'm going to be that, like, have that pace of life, start choosing the things that you want to, spend your time on, and maybe be a little bit more intentional, and don't take, some of the community things that we're talking about as just like, okay, that's just a season of life. It means more to us than that.
Gotcha.
So I think that's certainly that's something that's come from it. I will say I've been able to certainly recognize, I think, the blessing that I have in my family. Like I said before, the kids done an excellent job with their school. I give all the credit to you for doing that and for helping them through that while you're doing all the other things that you've been doing. So I am blessed to have Erin, and I wouldn't say that I took her for granted before this. But seeing the impact that she has on the kids and seeing the impact that she has on our community through what she's been doing through a number of different things with our community has been great. So
Awesome.
I've been able to see that. And like I said, not that was hidden before, but that's certainly something that has been made apparent.
Yeah.
So.
I'm glad I let him go first.
He was swinging for the fences.
Done.
You either did something wrong or you have an anniversary coming up.
Both, maybe. No.
Oh, that's great.
I know, similar to what Tim has said, I need to choose better about what I fill my time with.
Okay.
It is hard to hear so many people saying, oh, now I have all this free time and now I have this. It's like, how are you getting free time? I have no free time.
Yeah.
And by the time I sit down at night, I'm like mentally drained from going in so many different directions to the point that sometimes I feel like I've done nothing or I should be doing more, but I really, there's no more to give.
Yeah.
I was talking to Tyler about this the other day, where at this point in what we're going through, we're kind of limited to how many people are filling your bucket. And where all of our buckets are kind of dwindling right now. Yeah, they're a little tough right now. So trying to, if I need to use my time better, as much as I loved what I've been doing, whether it's, making masks or helping people in the community or whatever, I love all of that, but it's coming at a price at this point. So being able to kind of step back and say, okay, when I do have a shift in a schedule or something like that, like not being so quick to say, yes, I'll do that. I kind of have a habit of doing that. So
Right.
this has definitely reiterated that, like, it's okay to say no.
Yes.
It's okay to not do everything.
That is
I think, Ben, I've talked to you about this so many times. So like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. And I just, that's something that's just come out quite a bit at this point, that I'm trading my time with the kids for other stuff that I'm doing, or, where is that balance? Because time is not unlimited. You have to pick from here to move it there. And so that's been more eye-opening for me too.
awesome. Mary, what about you? What's God taught you the most in this season?
I just thought of a funny story. I know I'm jumping all over the place. And
You're right.
so I'm
You've got 2
sorry.
minutes before this shuts down. No, I'm kidding.
But with Erin, this involves Erin. So, yeah, like.
Now
at the
you're going to
beginning-
tell her how awesome she is? Come on, this is rigged.
Yay!
I hope you know that I am so grateful for you, Erin, and I do think you're awesome. But at the beginning of this, I was sort of like running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I was just thinking about, and it wasn't that I was God was speaking to me a lot, or at least I felt as though he was really speaking to me. I still do, but I think I was overwhelmed by it. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way, but like where you're just like overwhelmed by it, and I felt pulled in so many different directions, or I was just looking at the need, and I just was like, I want to meet that,
Right.
And my friend Melinda gave me this like 60-year-old sewing machine. I don't even know how to sew. So I'm trying to figure this thing out, and I'm reading like this old, singer's manual or something.
Yeah.
And I probably drove Erin crazy because I messaged her a bunch of times, like trying to figure this out. And I realized, eventually hold on, Loretta, just give me a second. So yeah, eventually God, he woke me up and was like, you need to focus on what I've gifted you in. He's given us all such unique gifts, and I haven't always like believed in that, due to like maybe self-esteem or, like not believing in God. And so just stepping into that, stepping into the gifts that he has prepared for us, and appreciating the gifts he's given other people. And it's been really awesome during this time, knowing that I don't have to do it all. I can't do it all. And
that's awesome.
has been freeing, it's like a weight lifted. And another thing is, can you go to Jenny and maybe come back to me? But I want to listen
I'll throw
Jenny
it to Jenny.
too,
No, that was good, Mary. That was great.
But I want to listen to Jenny too, so I don't
Go ahead,
know if I can.
Close us out, Jenny.
I'll
All
stop.
right, if I have to. No, for me, it's definitely going to be to hold on to the hobbies that God has re-taught me.
Okay.
Like I shared earlier, like, doing puzzles, just literally sitting there and doing that and listening to music or not, just being in silence and just getting lost in my own thoughts without being on the screen has been really cool. And also I've been taking up biking again, which is something I used to say I was too busy for. And I feel like when I do those things, when I'm biking and I'm on a long bike ride, God speaks to me and he shows me beautiful things, and then I just start crying and I'm like, I'm sorry. And I just have these like
don't fall off your bike.
Right.
moments where like, I'm sorry, I feel like I've put you last, God, and now you've given me this time to kind of try to seek you again. And so I'm trying to find those moments and taking advantage of them, and then trying to make myself promise that I won't forget about that after. But also just having like less expectations on my son, and just taking it easy on him too. Like I think I have these expectations that like I'm a teacher, so my son has to be perfect with his schoolwork, and if he's not, then it makes me look bad. And I'm I've been reaching out to his teacher. I'm like, girl, can you please help me? Like I can't. And she's great. Like she gets on a Zoom call with him and he responds to her. It's been humbling. It's been really humbling for me. To be like, oh, I don't have this all together. So there's two things. It's hobbies and humility.
Yeah, Jenny, and we've said before in staff meetings how similar you and I are in personality. For me, and I'll end with this. For me, it's been really hard because my job is like people, and then that's stripped away from a physical building with physical people in real time. And sort of to your point, Jenny, too, like we bought some backyard furniture, and I've just been sitting out there a lot, reading, praying, crying, lamenting, being angry, having anxiety, being depressed, being joyful, like all of the feels, as Psalms would probably write. And it's just been a good season to like stop being a control freak and to let go, right? Because pastors have a tendency to be control freaks. Most of them are, myself included. And so if we're in a season where we can't plan and predict the outcome, we don't know who we are. And so, I mean, I'll just speak for me. That's just me. It's been a good season to like just sit in the backyard, be quiet, and listen from God. It's very much been sort of like the minor prophets and then the wilderness and Exodus, just waiting to get back, but not back to normal, where I forget about this as like we all went on a mission trip and now we're finally back. And this will profoundly shape us as a church, and I think for the better. And I just love the fact that our church cares about helping people or inviting people to journey with Jesus. Well, this is part of our journey, and sort of helping process that once we get back in a few weeks. But that's all I can say about that. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. You're awesome. Can't wait to see you in person, whatever that looks like, wherever that is. And thank you so much for being part of this call. I know it'll be a blessing for a lot of folks and a lot of families, just to know that other families in their season of life, we're all in the same boat, right? We're all in the same boat. And really thankful for the church, and just for the simple fact of just being together as a body here in a few weeks. Love you guys, and we'll see you soon.